Despite recent fluctuations and lower sales, Vancouver's real estate market is not heading for collapse, and this is why. Believe it or not, demand is picking up and prices have been holding steady. So from the summer leading into September 2024, Metro Vancouver's housing market saw a dip. Home sales dropped 3.8% compared to sales from last year. So those are sales numbers. We can look at inventory as well. Inventory is constantly climbing. And as inventory grows and sales drop, that usually puts a downward pressure on prices. And we can see that looking at pricing data as well. But despite the slower start, there's a big shift happening in Q3 of this year. And moving into Q4, buyer demand is picking up and prices are remaining stable. So let's break it all down and see why the Vancouver housing market isn't on the edge of collapse. My name is 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐄𝐒. I'm a top producing realtor here in the greater Vancouver area. If you like market update videos just like this, be sure to subscribe. So our first point, sales are dropping in September. So looking at September 2024 sales, we have around 1,850 homes sold in Metro Vancouver. This is a 3.8% decrease from 2023. But the crazy thing is this is 26% lower than the 10-year average, where you're typically seeing around 2,500 sales in September. So when you look at all the numbers as a whole, it really looks like September is slowing down. But the question is, why? So now, point number 2, why the September numbers don't tell the whole story. When we look at the bigger picture and zoom out a little bit, the drop in sales were kind of expected. Mortgage rates have continued to drop, but we haven't seen that reflect in the sales numbers for the year. So the rate reductions have not yet kicked in to boost buyer demand. This is because people are cautious and they're waiting for better conditions before jumping into the market. If buyers know interest rates are going to keep falling and you want to get the lowest rate, the sensible thing to do is wait until your mortgage rates have bottomed out. But one thing these buyers are not considering is that prices typically increase as mortgage rates fall. So even if they're waiting on the sidelines to get the lowest rate possible, there's a chance they're going to be buying in a more competitive market where prices are going up. So buyers are chilling, they're remaining cautious, but when we look at the October numbers, they tell a completely different story and some good news. So now, point number 3, October sales numbers surge. So October 2024 sales, there are 2,632 homes sold here in Metro Vancouver, and this is a 31.9% increase from last year. That is freaking huge. This is a gigantic rebound from September, but if we're going to compare the two, let's look at the 10-year seasonal average. So September was 26% below their 10-year seasonal average, and while the October sales are amazing, a 32% increase from last year, they are still 5.5% below the seasonal average, the 10-year seasonal average. What this does tell us is the market is picking up steam and potentially beginning to surge. All right, point number 4, price stability amid growing inventory. So despite the fluctuation in sales, prices have remained relatively stable. And again, there's constant downward pressure on prices, and we have seen pricing generally trending downwards. It's nowhere near falling off a cliff. And we'll get into the numbers and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So first, if we look at single detached homes, the benchmark price is just over $2 million, a 1% decrease month over month, and a 0.3% increase year over year. So some movement, but not a lot. Now for townhomes, we're at a $1.1 million benchmark price. This is a 0.9% increase month over month, and only a 0.2% decrease year over year. Now lastly, condos, they're at a $750,000 benchmark price. This is a 0.6% decrease month over month and a 1.6% increase year over year. And when we look at these numbers, you'll see there's only a slight fluctuation, like plus minus 1%. And you can see these fluctuations in property type, but they also vary by area. And then when we look at the home pricing index for all the sales in Metro Vancouver, residential properties are at about $1.172 million. A small 1.9% decrease year over year, and only a 0.6% decrease from September. Point number 5, what does this all mean for the market? Here's the main takeaway. Even though prices have eased in some areas, as you can see, nothing is plummeting or falling off a cliff. The market is pretty stable. And when we look at the most recent sales data, there are actually signs of recovery. So the strong October sales suggest that buyers are starting to respond to the lower interest rates after sitting on the sidelines for months. It seems like they're starting to realize that mortgage rates are dropping, but prices will start going back up. And this may be that perfect balance where you're getting a really good rate and a fair price. Being able to shop when there's a lot of inventory, you can really pick from many different houses and be able to purchase in an environment where you're not fighting over other buyers and multiple offers, getting stuck in bidding wars on a home that you love. Looking at the data, it is pretty clear right now that we're on a brink of a market shift where buyer demand continues to grow and prices hold steady and even maybe begin to rise into next year. So in conclusion, despite the slower start to the second half of the year, Vancouver's real estate market is not in danger of a collapse. Looking at the October data, we're seeing a strong recovery where sales are picking up and prices are steady. If you're looking to buy, this may be the perfect time where you're getting a good price, a good rate, and you're not fighting other buyers. But whether you're thinking about buying or selling, the market is clearly shifting. So it's worth keeping an eye on the changes. And you know, here in Vancouver, the market can shift so quickly. So don't forget to subscribe and miss a market update video just like this one. I'll make sure to keep you informed so you know what's happening moving forward, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.